Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Simple Emotions Foundation Spotlight podcast, where we will be interviewing people who take control of different mental health organizations really across the country to help share their impact with our audience and hopefully even reach even more people so they can know the resources that are really out there for them so they can receive the help that they need. And today we are with Cameron, who is one of the executive directors of Colors Plus Counseling, who is one of the mental health organizations that we work with directly through our merchandise. And we are excited to have you today and share a little bit more about the work that you and your team does. Um, so the first question I have for you is, for those who may not be familiar with Colors Plus Counseling, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the organization's mission and how it all began?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cam. I know that I'm so incredibly honored to be on your podcast, and we've been so excited to be able to collaborate with Simple Emotions. So Colors Plus Counseling is an organization that me and my spouse started in 2018. We're for-profit, but very community-driven. We are a team that started out with two of us and an intern, and now we're up to 20 of us.
Wow.
We're just here really to serve the underserved. We have a big focus on serving minorities, especially LGBTQ plus folks. A large majority of our clientele are part of the gender expansive community, but you don't have to be part of a minority to come serve us. Like I said, we're very community driven. We're focused more on quality services and rather than quantity. Less business model, more serving model. So here to collaborate with other organizations and really give back in any way that we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess kind of segueing into the second question, what inspired you and your spouse to start Colors Plus Counseling? And what did you see in the community that motivated you to actually take the action?
No, that's a great question. And I think that's an important one to understand where we're coming from too, because when me and my spouse first thought of the idea, we were working in a community agency together, and we were getting pushed all of the LGBTQ plus folks onto our caseload because they were either being transferred off of other people's or just immediately put on our caseload, which we wanted to work with people who are a part of the LGBTQ community, but it wasn't fair that they had to be transferred or pushed off to other people's caseload because someone didn't want to work with them or didn't feel like they were educated enough to work with them. So our goal really was to create a space that was safe for everybody to come as their full authentic selves without having to worry, am I going to get judged for who I am or this part of my identity, and that I can show up as my full true self.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that for anybody, it's the hardest thing to step into any therapy service is, what are they going to think of me? I know I felt that myself when I went to my first therapy session. I think it's like 6 years ago or so. And it's really important that you provide a safe space for them because unfortunately there aren't as many safe spaces for people right now available, but definitely growing, especially with the work that your team does.
I appreciate that. I think you're absolutely right, though. It's extremely hard. It takes so much strength to reach out for support, and everybody deserves an unbiased space to talk through things.
Yeah. And then can you walk us through specifically what programs and services that you and your team offer? This can be specifically the therapy services and maybe even just like the community events that you join.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do individual, couples and poly, and relationship counseling, as well as family counseling. For those services, it is a fee, and we are in network with most Medicaids and commercial plans, and we also have a sliding scale and try to offer pro bono when we're able, because we don't want there to be a barrier for folks that are reaching out for counseling. We want to try to be as accommodating as we can and try to have our sliding scale on the lower end, but still know it's expensive. So we try to give back where we can. And we also offer group therapy, which we've been lucky. We are located in Ohio. So two of the counties we work with, we've gotten grant funding to be able to do free prevention groups, and 3 of our groups run year round. 2 of them are for teens, 1 is for adults, and then the rest of the groups are for adults. We give, I think there's, in the past year, we've ran 10 different prevention groups, and all of them were free to community members. Some of them are grant funded, and some of them we just do pro bono for community members. And those range from those who are in the autistic community to those who are intersectional to those who are going through grief and loss, those who are just trying to find a space for connection with other community members to, think that's the biggest part of prevention too, is having that community support and social interactions. Outside of that, we also provide wellness services such as Reiki and sound baths. One of our social workers does that. And we also provide trainings and psychoeducation for various organizations, schools, community members to just, it can be anything from specifically about LGBTQ plus things, or it can be about mental health in general, or it can be pretty much what they're a tailored experience and educational platform that they're kind of looking for. Like, for example, we've even done intersection between gifted students and LGBTQ plus identities. But we are very grateful to be able to participate in a lot of community events, such as health and wellness resource fairs, pride events, mental health resource fairs at high schools, and job fairs. And just we go and try to give support where we can. One of our fairs that we really enjoy going to is through an organization called Connecting for Kids. And it's just a really well-rounded space for families to find what they need. But wherever we can go and spread resources, that's really what we do. And on our social media, that's our big focus too, to spread resources and to share psychoeducation with others too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like I can resonate a little bit with the sharing the resources, because it's really hard to go out there all the time and advocate for the work that you do, because you never know the reaction from people, even though most of the time it's positive, but it's a very vulnerable spot that you're in. And it's also so incredible to see the vulnerability of the people that actually come up to you at a table. Because obviously if you set up a time for a session, like, that is when you put in the work for yourself. But it's so beautiful to see people opening up when you're just at like a resource fair. And I feel like that's one of the most important things about what I do, and even what you do as well, because that first conversation is what can help people actually feel comfortable to actually step into the room at your sessions and then put in the work. Because I can talk to people and try to advocate for mental health with them, but I am not a professional on how to actually help someone in that sense. And then I think it's great how your team kind of mixes the two of them, where you are in the community, advocate for the work that you do, help people feel welcome no matter who they are, and then you can actually provide them a resource for them to get the help that they need in whatever realm that it is. And I think hopefully there are more organizations like Colors Plus that will come up, and I've even seen more in the 4 years that I've been doing this, and it just makes me so happy to see how much the mental health space is actually growing across the country, even through all of the little bit turbulence that there is with the mental health community and LGBT community overall. But it still makes me really happy to see people are so persevering and doing the important work that is needed. And the next question I have is, what is the biggest and most common misconceptions that you've seen personally, or your team has seen, about seeking help, or like the thought of needing change in the mental health and LGBT community space?
No, thank you for asking that too. I think there's a big misconception that it's easy to reach out. I think that's half the battle whenever folks are reaching out, and they've already done so much work to get to the point of picking up that phone or going to a resource fair. And like you mentioned, being brave enough to be in a public space and go to a mental health resource table and have a conversation. I think that's a big misconception when it comes to just mental health in general, that it's easy to do that. I think there's still a really big stigma when it comes to talking about your feelings in the country, but especially if you're LGBTQ plus or part of any kind of minority, there's a huge misconception that that's the reason why you're going to counseling, and that's the reason why you're seeking out. When we have so many people with intersectional identities that it has nothing to do with their identity that they're coming for counseling. they're coming because of anxiety that they've experienced, or a past trauma that had nothing to do with their identity, or a current job situation or current relationship. There's a lot of various reasons, and most of them are not due to identity concerns. It's actually quite a beautiful, it's a quite beautiful thing whenever people come and they are very sure of their identity, of who they are. But it's also wonderful to walk alongside people and just support them as they're trying to figure out what kind of support they need and who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so nice. Thank you for sharing. And I feel like that's even something that when I was starting back when I was younger, I would just kind of assume one thing or another. And then as you develop and actually hear more people's stories, you're like, wow, nobody really knows what someone is getting help for. And that's okay, as
Mhm.
long as they know what they're getting help for. And then whoever they're talking to in the session is there to help.
Yeah.
Because no matter what people say about someone else, like someone could say like, oh, Cam's really anxious, he must be going to therapy for his anxiety. Not all the time I'm talking about anxiety. I could be talking about something else.
Yep.
Even like I resonate with people talking about jobs and careers. Like I'm segueing into that important time in my life where I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And it may not be I'm anxious about it. It just may be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I think it's excellent and a really important thing that you pointed out on no matter what someone's identity is, or no matter what somebody thinks that they're struggling, they're
Mhm.
going to seek help for whatever they need to seek help, and they're not tied down to that one thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it's also a misconception too that it's talk therapy all the time, and that talk therapy is you just go in and talk and that's it. But there's so many different types of approaches too. Like we have folks that do EMDR training or TFCBT training, and
yeah,
there's so many different approaches that talk therapy is very helpful for many people, but not helpful for everybody. So it's good
yeah,
to have different approaches too. And you brought up some really great points too about like we can assume all we want, but we don't know what people are going for.
yeah.
Yep.
And then looking back, is there a story or moment that really illustrates like the impact that Colors Plus counseling has had on someone's life, or even just in the community in general?
Hmm. No, that's another great question. I think that we've had many people who have looked back and said, I didn't know that I could have an experience like this with therapy, or
Yeah,
I didn't know that I could find a space to truly be myself in a group, or find my community, or you helped save my life. And I'm not saying that lightly too. And it is always, we walk alongside the folks, and it is not all us, it is them doing the hard work, and we're there just to support and guide and walk alongside them. And I'm very biased, we have a fantastic group of people that we work with, and they are inspiring to me. And I think that they are saving so many lives, and that's really what we're here for, is to make sure people know that they can get through another day, and that there's people out there that truly care.
yeah, and that's amazing. And I think it's and another incredible point, and maybe even like common misconception on how you said that the clients are actually the one doing
Mhm.
the work.
Mhm.
Of course, um, the therapist that they go see, they do a lot of help, and they can maybe guide them into what work to do, but they they're not a magic button where it's like, oh, I'm healthy now, or I'm happy now, or I'm all good, because like the person going in has to still put in that work. And I remember that was something that I struggled with a little bit too. I was like, why isn't this working? And my
Mhm.
therapist was like, Cam, maybe you got to actually do the things we're talking about. And then I did. And I'm like, wow, that's excellent.
Mhm.
And it's really a testament too to show how strong people are as well, because of course the therapist can help save their lives, and they do, and they
Mhm.
deserve all the credit. But the people who took action to actually seek help, they saved their own lives too,
Exactly.
because it it is so hard to get there. We've talked about that already, but I think it's a great mix of when you have a great team and you
Mhm.
provide the great services with somebody that really is struggling and needs it, um, for whatever reason, and then you teach them how to be strong, and then
Mhm.
they are really the ones doing the work outside of the sessions. And I am so happy the impact that you've had in your community and with the people that you work with, because it was one of the reasons why I started this and wanted to transition to talking about this with other organizations, to show that like there are great organizations that are making good change for people. And I'm excited to see where Colors Plus Counseling goes as you guys grow. I've seen great growth even just for the year that we've been working together. And then that kind of segues into the last question I have for you is, looking ahead, what are your goals for Colors Plus Counseling, and how can other listeners get involved and support your mission or
Mhm.
access your services if they are in the Ohio area, if they are someone they need knows help?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think our mission has always been to serve the underserved, and our goal really is to continue to be sustainable. We don't want to stretch our therapists too thin, because we want that really quality care. We're not trying to get numbers. We're trying to make differences.
Yeah.
It's a very, very different thing. So I think one of our goals for the future, and a way people can help, is that we created an access to care fund. Especially with so many cuts in Medicaid, and just the cost of living increasing, so many people can't afford basic needs. And I'm very, again, biased with, I think mental health is a basic need for people.
Yes.
So we're trying to raise funds so people who can't afford it, either their deductibles or copays, or just don't have insurance, that they can have some free sessions so that they're able to continue to serve where they need serve themselves, like you said, and just realize that there's that quality care for themselves out there, and there's ways that we can continue to get through another moment or another day together, and that they're important. So I think our goal is just to continue in the trajectory that we're on, that we want to continue serving where we can, continue reaching out to our clients and asking them for their feedback on what would be best for them. That's what we do with especially our prevention groups, trying to not assume, but to get their actual feedback of what helps them most. So yeah, just trying to continue to serve the community in a way that's sustainable, and not, it's the quality model rather than business model.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so important when running a social enterprise, where you need to keep the people at the forefront and not always just like make money, make money, make money. That was something that was interesting for me to adapt and learn at such a great business school at Babson. Is yes, of course you need to be sustainable and you still need to make money, but the reason why we do this is to help people. And it's so interesting when I talk to some people and at Babson, it's like, yeah, one of my main metrics of success is just the impact that we have. And they're like, but what if you don't make money? I'm like, that's not all we do it for.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you again for joining us today. I feel like even though we've been talking, having conversations for the past year, I learned more about Colors Plus, and I'm sure all of the viewers learned a lot of the important work that your team does as well. For everyone listening, I will drop all of their socials and websites and all that fun stuff where you can make contributions as well below, and I'll be sharing it on our social medias as well. And again, thank you, Cameron, for joining us, and all that are listening. Thank you for sticking through to the end to learn the great story and great mission of Colors Plus Counseling.